So I'm rereading The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, and rereading it inspired me to meditate. So I'm going to meditate for roughly 2 hours. We're going to the cinema to watch the new Avengers, not the Avengers, the Avatar. So I'm going to meditate until 3 o'clock. It's roughly about 1:45. I'm going to document my experience. Now, I've been doing transcendental meditation for the past 2 years, which is you have a mantra. So let's just say, for example, it's hello. You sit in meditation and you repeat hello, 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 hello. And what this does is kind of like takes you deeper and deeper into stillness and peace and the infinite. But I feel really cool to do a longer meditation to see what comes up and see where I go. So I will keep you in tuned. If you haven't already, I would start with meditating once a week and build on that long term. If you do one meditation a week for the rest of the year, your year's going to be better than last year. And then you'll start doing 2 a week, 3 a week. And then when you're doing 3 a week, you start noticing how your day goes so differently because you didn't meditate. And then you start, rather than being pushing energy, you start getting pulled to it. And that's a great shift. But anyway, I'll keep you guys in the loop. Here goes nothing. Peace. So as you can see, it's a different day, a new day. Straight after that meditation, my mum knocked on the door and it was 3 o'clock, 2 hours, and I believe around 15 minutes went by. And then we were off to see the Avatar, The Age of Water, which was amazing. You have to go see it if you haven't already. So this video, it's all going to be merged into one video, but this section is going to be explaining my experience because it was a lot different to what I thought I was going to get from it, which is the way the universe works, right? You think you're going to get something, but it gives you what you need, not what you want. I was reading the Michael Singer book, The Surrender Experiment, for the second time over, and if you haven't read it, I'd highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite books, and it's one of those books that you can just read and get lost in it, but it just absorbs so much spiritual wisdom. And remember, everything's energy, right? So if this stuff is going into your subconscious, at some point it's going to come back out and you're going to see the wisdom from it. Or maybe not, but just know that you're changing in that moment by reading those words, those energies on that book. And I got to the part, and this doesn't ruin it, and he basically just said that he went into this meditation for a couple of hours and came out and had this peace that he's never felt before for the next 3 weeks. And I read that and I felt my spirit go, you can do that now. Why don't you just go and do that? Go and do that. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to go and do that. And I told my family, I was like, you guys, I'm going to go and meditate for around 2 hours. So please don't disturb me, but come knock on the door for me when it's time to go to the cinema because we already booked tickets. So here I am. As you can see in the previous videos, I recorded them just before I was doing the meditation, and it didn't it cut out, but I held this position and I held out my arms like this on my cross-legged lap because my spiritual teacher, Peggy, she shared with me it's something to do with the opening of your heart chakra on the behind your back as well. Like if you think about it, we've got a lot of room behind there. We always think that our heart's on the front, but this way it kind of allows it to expand and magnify your aura backwards. And this position is the thumb is known as the God finger, and these fingers are fingers. So it's like the God thumb, the God finger. And this one is known as the ego. So it's because it's always pointing, it's blaming that person. Go over there, da, da, da. So when you hold that, it's like you're bowing your ego to your godlike self, your higher self, the version of you that's connected to everything and nothing and anything all at the same time. So I was doing that, and that was hard in itself. But anyway, go back to the meditation, right? As soon as I start, there's oh shit, bro, I've got to have to be here for 2 hours plus. My mind, I meditate every day, and my mind, I can't remember the last time it was that busy with that much intensity for a while, and it didn't stop there. The intensity was intense. It was insane. And I thought I was going to find this everlasting peace of harmony and, oh my God, I'm connected to everything. This is amazing. And I thought I was going to come out of it literally just seeing peace everywhere, but it was far from that. The whole experience was fucking hard. Every time I heard footsteps, I was just praying that someone was coming to knock on the door because the time had passed. That's how challenging it was. At one point, I had such excruciating pain in my left leg from sitting cross-legged. I was like, I am not this pain. And I was doing my transcendental mantra. And when with transcendental meditation, you say a mantra, and what it's meant to do, or what I found, is it just takes you deeper and deeper into the unknown and into the abyss of nothingness, because you keep saying it and it quietens your mind, quietens your mind, quietens your mind, quietens your mind, quietens your minds. And sometimes I've done that and I've opened up my eyes, I've squinted my eyes open to see if 20 minutes has gone, and it's been like 44 minutes. I'm like, oh shit, where's the time gone? Now, to know if I've been in the nothingness or not, it's kind of subjective, right? Because my nothingness compared to a meditation teacher might be different, and I don't know how to compare that. But anyway, with this mantra, like, there was so much pain at one point. I don't know how long I was in. And I was like, I'm not this pain, but it was like excruciating. I'm not this pain. And I felt like it was all the pain that had come up from like the way that I speak to myself, or have spoken to myself. And I had 2 injuries on my left leg. One, I broke my leg, and a couple bones in my foot trying to do a front flip off a beach wall when I was on a year 10 school trip in Cornwall. And the second one was I snapped my ACL at uni. And the first one I was at home, so I had my mum taking care of me, and I was just sat watching TV for like, I don't know, a month, and eating some chocolate button yogurts, I remember. And to be honest, from what I remember, I was quite enjoying that. But the second time with the ACL, there was a lot more on the line. Like, for me, the football, becoming part of the football team, that was like my way into a social group. I wanted to be a part of something, and I snapped my ACL. And then from there, it was like I was just smoking weed every day, eating loads of shit, because I didn't know I was in pain. People would ask me, "You're right?" Like, yeah, I'm sweet, right? That classic ask, man, yeah, I'm sweet, I'm good, man, I'm sweet, there's nothing, no pain here. I'm like, it is what it is, you know what I mean? You get on with it, which is, there's definitely a potency to that. But at the same time, if there's pain there, at some point or not, you're going to have to feel it to heal it. And if you don't want to feel it, you ain't going to heal it, which means that you are going to be stuck in some subconscious, unconscious patterns that will hold you back in some area of your life. Now, whether you want to explore that or not is completely up to you. And I do, because I want to live as like a higher self, a higher being, an infinite, expanding being that can do whatever he puts his heart to. And that means doing the inner work, right? So this excruciating pain was coming up, and it was all the pain that had happened from me sitting and dwelling in my sadness of all these injuries. And there was times where I felt like I disconnected from my lower half of my body because it was that excruciating. And there was times where, like, in this meditation, I would find so much light, and I'd also see the darkness next to the light, because they kind of come in two. You couldn't have the light without the darkness, and you wouldn't know it would be dark without having light, right? Imagine the sun wasn't shining and we were human beings on a dark earth and we didn't have the sun. We wouldn't know that it was darkness. We only know that it's darkness because the sun's shining, and then we see light, and then we can compare the light to the darkness and the darkness to the light, the black and the white, the yin and the yang and the yin. So a lot of uncomfortableness was coming up, a lot, especially in my left leg, and I noticed there was way more in my left leg than my right leg, which then got me to explore and sit with that. At one point, I had to move my legs because I was pretty determined to stay in there. I said to myself that I'll just stay in this position, like I said, like this, and even like this, man, my arm was killing from the moment, because you're holding it like that. Right, but then you've got, this is the whole point of like the discipline, right? Discipline is a skill, but it's the discipline of the mind. It's not always that discipline to go to the gym. It's like, how much can you hold that? Because your body can hold it, but how much can your mind, your mental toughness, how long can you hold that for? And it was hurting immediately as soon as I started, which I sit like that every day, and it was hurting more than it ever has, because it's the mind playing games and tricks on me. Yeah, and nothing's coming up for me now, but yeah, a lot of pain in the way that I spoke to myself. And later on in that day, it came up across the table, and my parents helped hold space for me then, and it was nasty, man. It was like, if I was to tune into the energy and then from that energy speak out what it was saying, which feels very uncomfortable, right? Because shame wants to wrap you and be like, no, you can't share that. It's really, you can't share that. You don't want to share that. But in sharing it and being seen in that, you do help alchemize it and heal it. So what was coming up was like, you effing C word, like you effing this, like you're overweight, you're fat, you're not good enough. If only you were fitter, then you might have gone in, you effing idiot. And it was nasty, man. And yeah, it wasn't easy sitting with all that, man, and it's not easy. That's why this inner work isn't easy. And if you haven't got any support, then feel free to reach out and book in a call with me. Or if I just recommend that you go and get some support from friends or a mentor or a coach or a therapist or something to help you through this journey, because life's hard. And especially when you're doing the deep inner work of like sitting with things that actually don't feel good. And what I learned from that was I never really knew that I was speaking to myself like that. I know that I'm hard on myself, but not to that level of really nastiness. Like, if you saw someone speak to a child like that, you'd have to walk over there and be like, who are you speaking to? Or like, you'd have to sort it out, right? Because it's abuse. And that's the energy that I speak to myself in. It resonates for like if I was playing sport and I gave the ball away, immediately I'd be like, oh my God, I'm an idiot, or just deep shame. So it's something that I continue to sit with. So yeah, my recommendation is just start small with meditation, and know that if you want to heal it, you do have to feel it, and that's tough. But on the other side of that is a deeper state of peace and light, because you allow that energy to move, you see it, and then you're left with who you truly are, and that is someone who is kind to yourself, someone who is in your own corner, and someone who loves yourself, because you are the only person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, guaranteed. Your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your partner, fiance, wife, kids. At some point or another, you will depart from this body in this lifetime, but the only person that you won't depart from throughout that whole experience is yourself, is your capital S self, is your soul. And if you can allow the soul to speak to you the way that it desires to, and not block that interference with your pre-conditioned mind, which can be savage, and the shadows that lurk within the mind, then you do break free from the mind matrix, and you get in touch with yourself at the deeper level. And to the depthness of that level, I'm going to continue to explore, so stay tuned. But I can safely say, hand on my heart, that the biggest gift that I've given myself is loving myself more and more and doing this work. So without going on anymore, I love you, I appreciate you, keep going, keep growing, one love.